This definitely did soon turn into an aimless catch-all, didn't it? For an episode that starts out with 5 minutes so emotional that, yeah, admittedly, I did tear up, we get the resolution to last week's cliffhanger, in which an anti-abortion protester crashes a car into Addison and pregnant OB/GYN fellow Tia. Plus, Maggie and Winston's marriage hits a new low. There are a few sporadic scenes of various doctors having their own breakdowns due to the trauma drama they have all experienced. 2 members of Station 19 are seen running around the hospital, and there is also a new development in the storyline. Interns establishing love struck eye contact with a preemie, Amelia briefly discussing her sisters, a hot nurse bringing Schmidt coffee, and a gonorrhea outbreak in a senior facility were all included for good measure. This episode is a disorganized mess, but it's our disorganized mess. It's disappointing since a lot of those narrative components are solid, but receive scant or no elaboration. Such untapped capacity. That scene where Jo, who has been putting her feelings in for so long, collapses in the elevator with Link after pregnant fellow Tia wakes up. That's fantastic. That's convincing. That kind of setting and character beat is what I have in mind for Jo and Link. I'm always up for a Grey's Anatomy elevator scene, Lord knows. However, there was hardly any anticipation leading up to it. Jo and Link do not appear in any scenes together other than Link asking Jo whether she was all right when the clinic's doctors first flooded the error. Jo hardly says anything in this episode. It should be heartbreaking when Link assures Jo that she doesn't have to hold it in anymore and that he's right here. Don't get me wrong, I cried, but a lot of that labor I had to do. There hasn't been much progress with this. Why do Ben and Maya spend sequences frantically pacing the hospital to check on their husbands while waxing poetic about how their wives must feel every day when they leave for work? None of this is necessary for us to know before the emotional high point of their journey. We absolutely must know Jo's mental state. Throughout the Tia ordeal, Link's thoughts regarding Jo's mental state, and basically anything else about these two. The fact that I'm asking for more Jo time is unbelievable, yet here we are. Seeing potential wasted repeatedly is just aggravating. It's exciting. As Tia and Addison are rolled into the emergency room, Tia is only 29 weeks along, and as a doctor, she is aware that she cannot give birth to the baby just yet. She implores them not to carry out. Amelia and Link are examining Addison, but she insists she is well and wants to enter Tia's room. She employs the time-tested "I'm a hero" maneuver of yelling at people until someone yanks her shoulder out of its socket. The one you know. Soon after, Tia's vitals begin to decline and everyone realizes they must perform an immediate C-section in the air to save both mother and child. This is excellent TV, people. Instead of attempting to squeeze in 1,000 other small character beats, we should have just let Tia's tale be the main focus of the episode. Thank goodness Tia and her son Connor are still alive for a while. Both of them are in a tight race. While Bailey, Jo, and Owen try their best with Tia, Addison, and Simone must repeatedly revive Connor to prevent her from passing away on the table. They had to pack her up and take her to the ICU. At one point, she starts bleeding out in the ICU, so Bailey has to do an immediate emergency surgery. She rescues her, and Tia gradually awakens. She'll be fine, I promise. But I believe that the show is truly asking the question, is anyone really going to be okay? Tia, her child, her husband, her doctors, all of them experienced a great deal of trauma and violence. In the end, it simply strengthens their desire to assist women in obtaining the necessary treatment. Bailey won't be closing the clinic for a couple of days, though. No, Addison won't stop driving around in the PERT. They will keep going and clean up the glass, continuing to put up a solid fight. Although this episode had an emotional message, I fear that it is largely forgotten. But one thing stands out. Picking yourself up probably signals the beginning of the end for Maggie and Winston, especially now that we know her time at Grey's is running short. Maddie is panicking in the midst of everything else, since the major article on her partial heart transplant has been published, and it contains, instead of referring to the excellent surgeon who had an equal role in carrying out the transplant, she refers to Winston as one of several assistants. When she waits impatiently for Winston to read it, she worries. She requests that Teddy ask the hospital